My name is Matt Reffick. I am a Pueblo native. I've been an artist my whole life. I started doing like murals and spray paintings when I was about 10 years old, and I became a professional artist when I was 17. I started making murals, depending on how you define murals, but I started painting like walls and doing large-scale paintings probably when I was about like 12 or 13 years old. So it's been almost, like almost over 20 years I've been painting walls and murals. As an artist, there's always a very strong link between your mental health and your art practice. And a lot of times you'll find that artists are suffering with some sort of mental health issue or anxiety or depression. And I think the reason that is because when we are suffering from these mental health issues, we isolate ourselves. And in that isolation, oftentimes we find that we're most creative, and it's a good time for us to have a creative practice. So we draw and paint and do whatever else we can do while we're alone in that isolation. We have these issues that are physical and mental, and a creative practice is a way for us to move through those things and express those ideas. My mom and family live here, so I just came back to kind of help them out, due to some family issues. And I was only planning on staying here for a little bit, and then I just ended up getting kind of immersed in the art scene here, and have stayed ever since. The premise of my work is always like, how can I use art to affect people in a way that I feel is positive, so that people have a better kind of outlook on the community itself. And then through the art, I realize that I can affect culture, and I just feel like it's my responsibility to affect culture in such a way that I am enhancing the city itself. So I try to add more mindfulness and more beauty to the city itself. So that's the the main meaning of it for me, is like the way that I am affecting every single person in the community that gets out into the community.
The individuals that we've got in town are amazing people. When you sit down and you talk to one person at a coffee shop or a group of people at a meeting, you find how smart they are, how committed they are to their community. And I think that sometimes that part gets overlooked by everybody, that they write about us, but they don't come here to talk to us.
The stigma really surrounds around crime, and this idea that there is crime everywhere. There's crime on every corner. There's just a lot of bad things happening. There isn't a spotlight on the good and the things that are happening in this community, and the good things that do happen, because the good definitely outweighs the bad. But it seems that this city tends to focus on the negative that is happening within the community.
I see it as like a way that I've changed the landscape of the community, because the murals have such a large scale, and they have changed the appearance of the community itself. So whenever you're in the areas where I have them painted, the area, no matter what, has a different look to it now, because it has large scale works of art that are very colorful and bright, and I try to make them as interesting as possible. So I think that the way that it's mostly transformed the city of Pueblo is that just by creating more interesting environments within the community. It kind of moves past the reputation of Pueblo, and it's like, oh, it actually has this very bright art scene and flourishing art scene that's going on. So I think that that's really the main ways in which I've affected the city of Pueblo.